More on what these latest polls are telling us. We're joined now by Dave Levinthal. He's a senior reporter at the Center for Public Integrity in Washington, D.C. Thanks so much for joining us, Dave. Now, since we're on the topic, how much do you think the health of these candidates has actually factored into these latest poll results?
It could be quite a bit. In fact, Hillary Clinton's health has been in the news for many days now, in part because she was very secretive about it initially and wouldn't give many details about why exactly she had an incident where she almost collapsed at a memorial service for 9/11 this past Sunday. And these polls are effectively, when you see a national poll, a testing of the temperature of the nation as to who they like, who they don't like, one candidate relative to another. And it speaks to how close this race is, in fact, when you take it nationwide.
So at this stage of the campaign, how accurate an indicator are they really, especially looking in the historical context and the lead-ups to elections past?
Polls are a snapshot in time. What we see today could be very different than what we see a week from now, even a couple of days from now. Things change so quickly. If a candidate does get sick, if another candidate, Donald Trump, says something absolutely outlandish, his poll numbers can go up and down accordingly. And it's also important to note, too, that national polls are not a reflection of how we actually conduct our election in the United States. We have this very arcane system, the Electoral College, that goes back to the genesis of the United States. And in a way, look at the U.S. presidential election not as one election, but 50 little mini elections in every U.S. state and the District of Columbia, where if a candidate wins a single state, he or she gets points, electoral votes, that when you add them all up all across the country, you got to get to this magic number of 270. So not trying to do a math lesson here, but really drive home the point that when you look at polls, a nationwide poll can only take you so far in how much you know. Look at those polls in swing states, very, very close contests in places like Ohio and Florida, Pennsylvania, Colorado, these states that are very close right now and ultimately are probably going to determine one way or another whether Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton becomes the next president of the United States.
Yeah, the winner-take-all system sometimes doesn't seem fair when you're talking about contests between, candidates for such an important position. But let me ask you, if you've been surprised by how variable the poll results have been, first with Trump lagging so far behind to now running neck and neck with Hillary Clinton just within the last, weeks.
These things have a way of closing up and then spreading apart again. You look back a couple of months to when the national conventions were taking place, for example. The Republicans had their convention and the polls tightened quite a bit, and then the Democrats had their connection. Hillary Clinton pulled away a bit. So there was a certain ebb and a certain flow to all of this. 8 years ago, when Barack Obama was running against the Republican nominee, John McCain got very, very close to Barack Obama right around this time 8 years ago in the middle of September, before Barack Obama ultimately pulled away and won the election quite handily. That's not to say that Hillary Clinton is going to do the same thing. Many, many things can happen, and this is a whole new election with two very different candidates. But it does speak to the issue that polls, again, are that snapshot in time and are variable depending on the action on the ground, what the candidates are doing, what the candidates are saying, and most importantly, how people all across the country are reacting to that. That's the important factor in determining who truly is up and who truly is down.
Okay, Dave Levinthal, thanks so much for your insight live there from Washington.